Hey guys, Jarek here, and welcome to my long overdue Accuracy Fire Mosin Nagant review. Before we focus on the airsoft Mosin Nagant, let's focus on the real Mosin Nagant. The film you are seeing now is courtesy of Ruski 74 and Phoenix from Cascadian Airsoft Group. This film was recorded at CAG's last real steel shootout up on Mount Hood. In 1882, the Russian military was looking for a magazine-fed, multi-round rifle. In 1889, Mosin, who was a captain in the Imperial Army, and Leon Nagant, who was a Belgian, submitted their Mosin Nagant, which was chambered in .30 caliber, or as we more commonly know it as today, the 7.62. In 1891, the Mosin Nagant was officially adopted by the Russian military. The Mosin Nagant would eventually become the primary weapon of use of infantry for Russia during World War I and World War II. After World War II, the Soviet Union ceased production of Mosin Nagants and withdrew them from service in favor of the SKS and eventually the AK series. Despite growing obsolete, many other countries still use this rifle. Aside from Russia, the other countries that used this rifle was Estonia, Finland, Czechoslovakia, China, Hungary, Romania, Poland, and the United States of America. That's just to name a few. Mosin Nagants have gone everywhere and have been used in virtually every part of the world. Over the years, billions of Mosin Nagants have been made. They are very affordable, usually under $100, and if you go to any range in the United States, chances are someone's going to have a Mosin Nagant there. So to say this Accuracy Fire Mosin Nagant has a legacy to live up to is a little bit of an understatement.
Go for it.
Moving back to the airsoft Mosin Nagant, initial response on opening the box is that it looks very promising. The packaging looks very sturdy and there's no way this will be harmed during shipping. The fake stock, which is ABS plastic, looks like the real wood on the real Mosin Nagant, and in general it's almost eye candy when you first open the box. Now the Accuracy Fire Mosin Nagant is a clone of Zeta Labs' gas version of their Mosin Nagant, so it comes with a bayonet and has all the same features. It's about the same size as a real Mosin Nagant. It has the correct sling mounts in the correct placement that go all the way through the gun, so if you're left-handed you can still use the sling mounts fine. With the exception of the front sight, anything that doesn't look like wood is metal. The main upper receiver is made out of die-cast metal, so it feels overall very sturdy. So when you're looking at this gun, it looks very promising. However, there is downsides to this gun, unfortunately a lot of them. Although the stock looks very good, it seems to be made of very thin ABS plastic. It feels that if you hit it too hard, it would break. It also makes the gun ridiculously light. This gun weighs less than your standard M4. In no way does it feel like you're holding a Mosin Nagant or any rifle for that matter. It simply is too light, it feels like a toy. But the bigger issue there is, like I said, it feels somewhat fragile. Now I think it'd be able to take a few hits, but I'd be a little bit careful with this one. I don't know if you'd be able to drop it or hit it against a tree without it breaking. The front side of this gun cannot be tightened or adjusted to the barrel of this gun in any way and is incredibly loose. I'm almost afraid I'll lose it. Fortunately, the bayonet kind of keeps it in place. The way you install the bayonet is simply slip it up over the barrel, push the button and twist it to the side. It'll lock into place and it's not going anywhere. The bayonet is made of durable plastic and I don't think you'd have to worry about it breaking too much, but do be careful when you're pointing it at other people. As I mentioned before, the fake wood looks good. However, the plastic has horrible giant seams across the whole back of the stock and the whole underside of the gun. You really can't look over these. These just look bad, you can feel them, you can see them, and it just really hurts the look of this gun. The bolt itself looks okay but is lacking in some detail. On top of that, after you use this gun for a while, that screw in the back of the bolt will need to be tightened because it continuously gets loose over time and fairly quickly. With the exception of how loose the front sight is, the sights are okay and get the job done. The rear sight is made out of die-cast metal and is fully adjustable. The trademarks on top of the gun are the only trademarks you'll see, and are fairly true to the real Mosin Nagant. Here you can also see how you adjust the hop-up unit, which is adjusted by a small Allen wrench key right on the top of the gun. Pulling the bolt back exposes where you charge the gun with propane or green gas. I'm not sure if this gun can use red gas, but if you find out that it can, I would highly recommend this gun to use red gas. This gun does have some feeding issues, and I didn't get a chance to actually chrono it, but the few times I did get a chance to shoot it, I'd have to guess it shot around 300 to 330 feet per second. It definitely did not shoot any harder than that. The hop-up unit was a non-factor here, as the times I did shoot it, I was adjusting the hop-up unit. Whether it was shooting up, down, or straight, it still was not shooting any harder. To the gun's credit, the hop-up unit was very effective. However, 300 to 330 feet per second is way too weak for a gun that you should be able to use as a sniper rifle. My next complaint is the biggest complaint I have about this gun. Right now, what you're seeing is me attempting to pull the bolt back any farther. This is as far as it goes back. That in no way would be able to chamber a 7.62, and that is bullshit. At the most, that would be able to chamber a 9mm, and that's stretching it. If you make a bolt-action rifle, make the bolt go all the way back to the rear of the gun the way it's supposed to. Do not make it go back an inch or two, especially if you put the time and effort into making it full-sized. This gun is pretty long. With the bayonet installed, the gun is only a few inches shorter than I am, and I'm 6 feet tall. The way you load this gun is just like the Zeta Labs version. You open up a hatch on the bottom, and you wind something up. Winding this up will pull back a string and open up a space for which you pour BBs into. This gun will hold about 15 BBs, which is more than enough for a bolt-action rifle. When you close the hatch, it pushes down on a lever, which pushes the BBs into the hop-up unit. The problem is this lever pushes too much on the actual latch, and the latch will not ever stay closed. You need tape to keep it closed. That's pretty bad. The other giant and glaring issue with this loading mechanism is that it just plain doesn't work. The BBs continue to get jammed inside of the barrel. I eventually gave up on getting the shooting tests done just because I had so many issues with getting this gun to shoot correctly. From what I got, the hop-up unit seems to be very effective and it does seem to have some range, but it just seems to be a little bit too weak to really get out there. Either way, jamming is a bigger issue than the gun being weak. So where does that leave us with this gun? Well, just to humor myself, let's do the pros and cons. Pros of this gun is that the die-cast metal does seem to be very solid, the gun does look pretty good, and the hop-up unit does seem to be very effective. Unfortunately, that's where the pros end, and the cons has a much longer list. The plastic of the stock feels way too fragile, it feels way too light, there's giant seams on the top and the bottom of the stock, the bolt only goes back an inch or two, the way you load in the BBs is awkward, it doesn't feed correctly in any way whatsoever, the front post feels very wobbly. In every single way, this gun is worthless. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I can't even say this gun would be good for a wall hanger because a real Mosin Nagant is going to cost less than the airsoft Mosin Nagant. And we already discussed why it doesn't work as an airsoft gun. The only way I can actually see this gun being effective or being useful to anyone is if someone wants a big custom project where they actually have to machine parts for it. Because the only way this gun's going to work is if they actually make a whole new loading mechanism and change the bolt around entirely so that the bolt goes back farther than just 2 inches. Basically, this gun would be for someone that doesn't know where to start in building their own Mosin Nagant. They have nowhere else to go because Mosin Nagants in the airsoft world are for some odd reason rare. The only other one you can find is the Zeta Labs, and they simply just want a base to start their work, and this is really all they have to work off of. It's a sad, unfortunate end to the legacy of the Mosin Nagant, and is ultimately really disappointing to me. However, I'm a reviewer, and I'm not going to sugarcoat what's good and what's bad. So that sums up the review of the Accuracy Fire Mosin Nagant. Sorry the gun ended up being so bad. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys next time.
What the fuck? What did I just do that for? Did you see how slow I threw that grenade?
What the hell did you even do?
Oh!
That is a fun gun to shoot.
What?
A black power. Have you shot it?
Nicely done.
Buggy did.
That's twice.
That's right.